This conference will now be recorded.
All right. Call the meeting to order. Stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh Lord, as we gather this day to do the important business for the people of the village of Owego, grant us wisdom, compassion, and understanding. Amen.
Amen.
All right. First topic, as usual, public comment. Peter?
Hi, for the record, I'm Peter Gordon, and I'm just speaking as a citizen rather than I usually talk as a friend of Evergreen. But I am talking about Evergreen topics. The first, and Fran and I have talked about this, is just to make sure that I'm not going to read all of this, but I wanted to. um, the first is just to make sure that we're included in the planning for the hazard mitigation because the source of a lot of water is Evergreen. And in 2011, the roads were badly damaged and some graves were exposed. And so there have been 3 flood or rain mitigation plans proposed or at least discussed. One by Soil and Water, one when that wall repair grant, as they call it, which was abrogated, and then Martha Lyons' plan. So this has been formally looked at, but really nothing's been done. And the effort, the partial effort at amelioration resulted in the absolute destruction of some of the historic elements in the cemetery. And that's sort of water under the bridge, but it's that has never been finished. The second item is is we need money to pay for the paving, and this may be a lawyer issue, and I'm just bringing it up, but we have a perpetual care fund that's been sitting there doing nothing. It has gotten some modest interest, but at least 200,000, maybe 300,000, depending on 100,000 of that was a bequest for headstone repair, but I think it's about 300,000 total that could be taken by the villages alone and paid back at 35,000 a year for 10 years, which makes it much more affordable because the cemetery is going to be inaccessible in not too long. So it's sort of becoming a crisis. And the third item is a request from the board to the board to allow us to go out to specific donors and ask about creating a parking lot up by the Sasana area. This will take more planning. This is just the crudest sketch to give you a conceptual idea. The village owns 1,300 feet east of the Sasana monument, and with changing burial patterns by it used to be in the 50s that there was only 15% people were cremated. It's estimated by the 2030s it'll be 87%. So, and scattering ashes, the only prohibition in New York State is you can't put ashes in fresh water. So the thought is to make a scattering ground. These are being laid out in various cemeteries. And we can put a large Halsted-like rock there where people could have the names of their loved ones inscribed. So it's not just and put a shelter there and then get rid of the gazebo, open that area up for burials, which will bring us some revenue maybe. So these are I just wanted, they probably all take more thought, but to bring them to the board's attention and to say at the appropriate time, we'd like to discuss all of these further. So, thank you.
Thanks, Peter.
Can I ask you a question? The retention ponds, what's your understanding of like what of those, like when they cleared the big lot, were we supposed to put those in or was it recommended?
Now, this is hearsay,
Okay.
but I believe that what I was told is that because we fiddled around and fiddled around, we lost the ability to grandfather in new burials in the upper lot because they went 7 or 8 years after it was cleared with no burials. So we were forced to abide by new environmental standards.
Okay.
So what I was told was that they had to clean out the old pond, has various names, Dead Man's Pond, and
Yeah.
the Ghost Pond, and all sorts of, and build a concrete spillway for that. And then that is the sort of eastern ravine. There are 2 major ravines. Then a second catch pond would have to be constructed at the western end of the cleared space, also with a concrete spillway. And Jeff Souls had gotten estimates that outrageous range from 200,000 to 500,000 to create the ponds. So that's what's holding up new burials. Those of us who study, sort of spend too much time in the cemetery, believe there's a lot of open space that we may be able to use. And also different cemeteries around the town of Owego use different burial devices. So for example, in the Gibson Corner Cemetery, they have what looks like sort of a standard granite headstone, but it's actually 2 niches for cremains. So there's a real possibility for above ground burials. And Martha Lyons, when she did her report, talked about lining the edges of some of the steep slopes with such mini columbariums, if you will, or individual crypt mausoleums. And all of this, to be crude, is to bring some revenue in,
Yeah.
selling plots, because it's actually not only Owego. There's a county-wide crisis for lack of burial space for cremains.
Okay. So that means there exists some paperwork and some old bids for retention ponds, and if we can get that and include it into the hazard mitigation plan update, that's how we could find some money to do the repairs, because we're the Cedars community, and that's all drainage stuff. We could, as long as we get it in the plan, we could possibly get 90% federal funding for the repairs that need to be done.
So Julie is preparing that plan?
Yeah.
So would you like me to reach out to Julie about
Yes.
this?
Yes, and then also because your plan could include reinforcing the walls, that would apply into it because it's doing, structural reinforcement and
It
storm
is an intimate
drainage.
part of the drainage system.
Yeah, so all of that, that's a way that we could find money to do it, to affect, the course of the water before it gets down all the way
Right,
in. Yeah,
right,
so if we can include that, that's the way we could fund it.
right, because Mike Howe said, especially in the Paupers Field, that there were graves that were exposed,
Okay.
or burials that were exposed because of the force of the water.
And maybe because of it was cleared up above without,
Well, it was, yeah, the
Proper drainage.
unchecked flow.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, it's a matter of redirecting some of the water so you're not getting rivers running downhill.
if, Fred, can I ask Meg if she still has those old plans? And because there were, I have to assume there were engineering drawings done to get that grant. It was, I believe, a Park Service grant.
Yeah, I imagine they're around somewhere.
Right. Okay, I'll follow up on that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Peter. Public comment. Judge?
Yeah. For who doesn't know me, I'm Dave Boland, the village justice. I'm not here as justice capacity tonight. I'm here to first think about current events in the village or near the village and the county of 30 horses dying last week before, that couldn't get out of the barn, and how upset people are, which has brought to my mind, I have a similar situation in village court. We're on the second floor, as you all know. We have no egress out the rear, limited egress in the front. And I've discussed with a couple of you about, let's make a move. I've also learned that in the $600,000 grant that has just been granted, there's nothing there to cure the egress in village court. So I know there's a couple buildings, a couple spots open, excuse me. One being 187 Main Street, which I've toured a little bit. The square footage is actually more square footage over there, including the second floor, than there is where I am now. And the other is possibly in this building. And I'm just here to ask for permission to either you folks start with a plan or give me permission to get going and make a move over there. I don't think any of you would want tomorrow, when I have 50 people there and we can't get out. Just recently, in the last week or two, there's been locks installed at the bottom of the stairs where we have no egress, even if we came down the stairs to get through the police station. So if you think of my 47 people tomorrow, and we have a disaster, especially in the front of the building, I think I've told a couple of you, I had a photo of, and this has happened twice, of disturbed people planting cars on those front steps of the police station. Twice, once in a pickup truck, once in a sedan. Now what happens if one of those gets up there and explodes? we're like the 30 horses. I don't think any of you want that on your hands. So that's my reason for being here tonight. And I'm I'm not just looking for myself and my staff, but for example, the 47 people that are coming to be heard tomorrow to get their justice.
So you sent me pictures.
Sent you pictures.
I didn't send them out yet, but I didn't do that. Never mind.
hmm Sorry, I thought I had the, oh, I do have it. This is not very good, but I'll show each one of you. This came out in old black and white film. Here's the car, there's the police station. Up on the stairs, can you see that? Yeah. Put that on, John. Here's the car, there's the police door. Again, this is off of about a 35-year-old black and white.
People are crazy.
This is the car. This is the police station. Okay,
All right.
that's all I have.
Anybody have anything for the judge?
Well, you had mentioned to me the other day, Judge, that, you could take your benches and everything that's in the
Exactly.
courtroom now. and move
Take
it.
them out the window, go in the window over at 187. And it's a simple fix. As the door is now, you go in, we'll move the pay window to the left. Michael has the pictures. And block off one door that goes into the old conference room and go from there. It's pretty simple. And if down the road, as we live with it, we decide we want to do more, we each year have a $30,000 grant that we can apply for. That's what we used in the old building or at 90 Temple Street. And I think you all saw that we won an award as neatest, coolest, if you will. Coolest is probably not the word to use. Courtroom in New York State, and it was published with 5 pages in State Magistrates magazine. We're pretty proud of what's up there.
No, it's nice up there.
I would love to stay right there if you could take the top of that building and put it in the parking lot next door. We've got a great setup. There's no doubt about it. So,
We'll give you an elevator.
well, yeah, well, that's the deal. An elevator, or,
Elevator.
you know, there's
Well,
no,
and a fire escape, I guess.
there's no fire escape, there's no fire alarms.
Both of those things are at 187.
No, and they're not included in the $600,000 grant that we just received,
Right. Yeah.
which is hard for me to understand why, it's hard for me to understand why that never got included.
Yeah, that's 600, mostly brickwork, windows.
Well, and on top of that, one of the immediate fixes that we need, we have 13 broken windows now for 5 years.
Yeah, they will be
That-
fixed.
One of them has one of them has a hole in it the size of a quarter.
Yeah,
So-
they will be fixed.
So I'm not sure where we go from here, but that's my,
I'm not sure either. Other than, I know we were looking at, what were we looking at 187? We heard anything on that?
They're still trucking.
Other than that, the building's just sitting there empty.
and on
Yeah,
on Friday when I was in there was no heat in there.
Park over in the
I think
county
it-
lot, go across the park. I mean, it's a lot easier.
Right, yeah, I mean. there's-
We haven't really got any parking where we are. We have no handicap
Yeah.
access. What's in the back is not marked for somebody to pull up and go around the back. And if they did, there's not a handicap parking spot out there. We have 45 parking spots on the courthouse square. We've got 45, and the 45 is a great number. We have 45 on Lake Street. And we have another 38 in the Halsted lot where the Halsted Buick was. So there's lots of parking. Owego's biggest problem with parking is you can't fill it up. There's not enough retail customers.
I know we want to walk 2 blocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's all I have to say.
I think it should be investigated further.
No, and I have pictures, Judge sent me, they took a couple of rounds of emails, but he
Yeah.
sent me pictures of
Yeah.
kind of a
A-
mock-up.
And I think it's something that needs to be attacked.
Yeah.
We could have
I
a,
agree.
we could have this tomorrow. We could have a Tioga Downs tomorrow. Not everybody likes to come and see me. Not everybody wants to come to my party.
Yeah,
And they get more excited after they leave and go home and tell mama. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank you,
coming.
Peter.
Oh, yeah, what's the worst?
Yep.
All right. Still in public comment?
Go ahead, you're here first.
Depend on just poor resident. I wasn't lucky enough to be here last time. I guess there was some large public comment about some sort of voting irregularities with voting rules or something like that. So
Oh, yeah, we had a presentation by somebody who came.
yeah, so I took a look at the pamphlet and went into it a little bit. So I have an hour or two little presentation right now, but maybe I'll cut it short. Peer review site. I looked through that site and what it meant to be peer reviewed there. I looked at the author and the other things that they did, and I looked at the paper and read through that and tried to understand what they had there. And to cut it as short as possible, basically, it was a bunch of crap. So, I mean, and I understand partisanship and stuff like that, but this was a mixture of what I would call extreme partisanship, willful misunderstanding of math and technical things, and perhaps, because I've dealt with this in the past a couple times, mental illness that some people have when they think they find something in there that's not there. Anyways, please don't waste any more time than right now.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
So if you move the court, would you have to hire more police to man that?
No, we send police over there now to secure it. So it'd be the same police. 'Cause right now they don't have their dedicated security. We use an OPD officer as security. So it'd be the same OPD guy.
Just curious. I didn't even know it was in OPD's.
Yeah, it's upstairs, a lot of stairs.
Like the judge said, there's only the one way in and out.
Yeah, that one stairway. I mean, there is some back ways, but they lead you into the police station, and they did just do new locks in the police station, so maybe that's the issue. Still in public comment? Mike?
All right, I'm gonna hit you on parking again, but
Very
a little different. Notice that on Lake Street, there's one handicap parking spot, and it's down by Front Street. It kind of makes sense to me, there should be one on the other end of Lake Street, maybe one in the middle. If somebody wants to go to the antique center and they're handicapped, they gotta park all the way down by the bookstore and then work their way up
Yeah.
to the antique shop.
No, there's only that one down there. I don't know.
Well, didn't they put one in the lot behind the,
Now there
Theater?
isn't. We had to because we redid it.
cause from there, it's just the alleyway over to.
The only other spot I saw a handicap spot was in front of, on Front Street, in front of the restaurant there,
Yeah, in front of the cell.
Cellar.
Which is funny, there's like two of them right there.
Yeah.
And there is a new one in the lot behind Lake Street now.
Court Street lot.
Right, the Court Street lot.
Just a thought,
But yeah, no, that's a good observation.
think about,
They're all at that one end besides the new Court Street lot.
and I don't think there's any on North Ave.
No, there's not.
Was there one in the Hyde Street lot?
Yeah, there's two there now.
Two in the Hyde Street lot? That's just a matter of walking over through
Yeah, through one of the alleys there.
alleyways to North Avenue.
Yeah, handicap's not a good, I don't know, it's hard because you're not like going. It's not like you have a lot for the business, you know, so it's tougher.
There's I'm not that, gimpy myself right now. And,
Yeah.
you know,
That's something to think about, because you're right, they are, a couple we have are kind of in
Can't
the
fit
same
them,
spot.
sure, through that alley.
I'm a little bit curious about I think there's the
Sure,
block
through
where
that
the
alley
private
walk.
trails and the movie theater is on
Right.
that. And that, those haven't really been lined lately or anything,
Right.
because there was, it was sort of cut off, the scaffolding and stuff. That could be a good place for a
It could be at
handicap
the other end of the street there,
space.
on Main Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Just as, for location and
That would
spacing.
work. It's just like, and I worked with the handicap for years, so it's kind of,
Yeah.
like, I was in the mall one time, with a wheelchair van. Come out with the client to put him in the wheelchair van, and I couldn't get the wheelchair lift down because somebody parked in that little straight section right next to it.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
So I stuck a nice little note on their windshield, then backed the van up, got my client.
Yep. Alright. Public comment.
I got one thing.
Oh.
I gave everybody a copy of there was a request for a marijuana dispensary. Did you get a
Oh,
copy?
yeah, I
of
was
that?
gonna bring that up later.
You have to answer within 30 days.
Yeah.
Just got it today. You got a copy.
I do not have a copy.
I don't have a copy.
I have a copy. We want copies like a minute.
How we do about making our zoning law pretty good on that, huh?
We're not fast enough, that's what we
You got
got.
a copy?
So this is-
Look and see if you got a copy.
The office is locked.
Huh?
Can you open that door for me? See if we have it.
That's where it locks.
Is this something we want to do?
Here you go.
Are we listening to public stuff?
What's up?
Are we done with public comment?
I don't know, do we have any other public comment?
I haven't.
Alright, we'll move on from that, then we'll go to the marijuana thing here. There, you can read this one.
Thank you.
I already read it earlier. So it is Las Chicas. And they've applied for a license. Yep. So the current, we've been doing a bunch of research, so the current New York State regulation does not have called a setback for parks and daily out here and go around here. It doesn't have a setback for parks in it at all. It's churches and schools, but not parks.
Yeah, if they did have the park, we'll cancel that.
Right.
Park on both sides.
So what we were looking at for parks would have canceled out all of Front Street and all of Lake Street. But we haven't passed it yet, or even had a public hearing or draft version of it or whatever. And they've applied for a license, so from the looks of that application, what we can do is, all we can do is very similar to a liquor license. We can, within 30 days, write them a letter to tell them how we feel. But obviously, we don't really get a say besides writing them a letter.
They requested a particular location?
Yeah, Las Chicas,
Oh, okay.
or 208 Front Street is the actual
Yeah.
address, but
I could visualize a lot of merchants gonna be open on.
I did check on the phone number on the application, comes out of New York City someplace.
What do you know?
Even though it's Johnson City address, but the phone number is New York City.
Well, I know other people that have, that live here, they have New York City phone numbers.
well, yeah.
That's true.
It happens.
And I mean, I don't know, I haven't researched, we just got it today, but I haven't researched these people, but I know within the cannabis law, if you get a license, you can have 3 shops, but they can't be, they have to be within a certain radius, but they can't be closer than a certain radius. So they can have like 3 locations with the same license within a certain range. So this Johnson City place, I don't know or not, but may have another place in the area. Be my guess anyway, being that's a New York City phone number and a Johnson City address. I didn't look them up the other day.
So to avoid all of that, would it be advisable to change the local law?
Well, we don't have our local law set yet.
It's
That's the
gonna take us
problem.
like 3 months even if we did it
So they could
today.
Slide in the back door with this.
We can still change our local law.
But yeah, that doesn't say this is cooking. Within 30 days, if we want to write this email address, any sort of letter, we need to do that.
Well, I mean, could you send them a letter saying that we're working on our regulations, we don't have it completely set yet, and if you're still interested in 3 months, apply again.
But we don't get to say, apply again. We can say we're working on something, but what the Office of Cannabis Management does is what they do. It's like a liquor license. You don't get to give the license or not give the license.
So then how do we have approval or disapproval of it?
We don't.
Oh, okay.
Right, just like a liquor license, we just recommend, you give them a recommendation, yes.
Yeah, we don't have any sort of approval role.
So when the place that we respond to is the Cannabis Control Board, it's not to these people
Right,
that
yes.
are asking for a
Okay.
license.
We respond to the people who are giving the license, but this is our opinion. They can use it or not.
Along with that opinion, can we include what the merchants say, their thoughts along with it, just to give us some more weight?
We could. Or we can include whatever we want. So it just says it has to be on our letterhead, and I have to email it to that email address within 30 days.
I just brought that up, so.
Mr.
you
Mayor.
Lose a 30-day window, just came in today.
I would request that we have an executive session to speak with our attorney about this. Attorney-client privilege.
That's fine. Nate, is that a legitimate executive session kind of thing?
No, I mean, an attorney-client session is by default not a meeting, so you wouldn't need to call for an executive session. You just recess for an attorney-client session.
We don't have to have an executive session. We would just recess for attorney-client, which we could do at the end or.
Okay. I suggested that we continue this with our attorney.
Yeah, that's a good point. So anyway, we got this today, so we have 30 days from today to do whatever we're gonna do. Did she take that?
Department heads, right?
She took this. Department head reports. Let's see. These guys out here hopefully good.
Okay, I don't have anything except for what I had put on the agenda.
Yep.
And an explanation and a request. All wrapped into that.
So that is the purchase new pumps for Fifth Avenue Pump Station. Take it away.
I guess Kim didn't get that on there, but, we got 3 quotes. I'm going with the W2O quote, for maximum of 10,000. Get a little fluff room in there. Part 1, because they will come in and do the setup at no extra cost about the pump. 2, we've had a few of these pumps replacing old ones, and they work fantastic. And the third most important one is we need it like yesterday, and they can give us a 2 to 3 week lead time on it.
The rest are 4 to 8 or 10 weeks.
Yeah.
And they look like they're actually the cheapest of the 3 quotes too. Right?
Well, the pumps from the other ones are cheaper, but they offered us free setup.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, no, I mean the total bill is
Yeah.
cheaper.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor?
Rusty.
So I talked before the meeting about the 3 quotes, so in case anybody had any particular questions, because I saw the differences. And as he said, the other 2 include setup and testing. So this one that has free setup, does that also mean and testing?
Yes.
Okay, no, I'm just making sure. So that was about a $1,500 difference in each of the other two quotes.
Right.
Added that on. One of the quotes doesn't have anything on it about freight. The other two have $425 and $250 freight. Anyways, when we get done with all those numbers, the company that we've done business with and the company that we like their pump fine, will do the work for a reasonably substantial amount less. That being said, I move that we approve the purchase of the pump as per the agenda from W2O, not to exceed $10,000.
I second.
Okay, we're gonna pay that out of, that line item there, G.8130,
Yes.
20.130.
Yeah, as per the agenda quote motion.
And that's, I don't have the budget in front of me, that's just a line item for equipment, right? It's not like a reserve account or anything.
No.
Equipment line item.
If anybody else has any more questions about it, ask them now, because I mean, I looked at it, but that doesn't mean you're.
Well, that makes sense as long as, you know, they do the setup.
Right. Yeah, whatever it says on there. Well,
It'd be quite costly to have hire somebody else to do it.
right, yeah, no, mine's handwritten, it says free startup. I mean, I know we've used.
We're gonna need that in the official quote.
Right.
Free setup, rather than just this paper, we're gonna need an official quote that says setup and testing. And the contract would go to the contract.
Alright, should we vote on that? Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Fran?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
And yes. Anything else?
Yeah, if I can add on to that. The reasoning behind this, pump and the reason we need it like yesterday is at least 3 times a week, we are tearing those pumps apart and we're finding everything under the sun in those. Clothing, bottles, everything. We know where it's coming from. And in the past, we have reasoned before, and it usually stops for a while. This time it is not stopping, and it's just requesting, what can I do now?
So we know.
Is there any kind of filter that can block that going into the pump?
At big cost to us. It needs to be stopped at the source.
Right.
Which, Riverview.
So there's dumping debris that's getting,
Well, they just flush things.
Right.
One of the main things is the quote unquote flushable wipes.
okay,
There's literally 50 pounds every couple days that we're pulling out of those pumps.
okay. So like maybe we can address it from their building and say they need to install something on their building to make it not come into our
I would love
sewage pipes.
something like that.
Yeah,
Because at least once a year or 18 months, we have to go in to that empty parking lot. They used to have a clinic. And we have to jet their line because their line gets so bad that we need to unplug it, which is our manpower, our man hours.
so it's sort of some public announcement not to flush wet wipes.
Yeah, right.
And also
We'll use those things.
that they,
Fans of shirts.
Yeah.
maybe we can give them official notification that there's an issue and start there.
In the past, we've gone to Lord's. They've actually welcomed us in to view their disposal methods. Riverview will greet you at the door and pretty much wave you off. And everything else is residents except for MJ's. And they're just grease problems.
Yeah.
But we've talked to them many times. That's why I'm requesting maybe something official.
Yeah.
Will work a little more.
Yep, yeah.
And we'd have to check with Nate
issue and then it's not so quiet, that might get more movement.
We'll have to check with Nate what our options are on that situation.
You could just send me an email outlining everything that's going on with it. You were pretty faint, so I couldn't quite hear exactly everything you said.
Okay.
Basically, the gist is that the nursing home so close by seems to be the source with flushing wet wipes.
Keep going.
Right.
And clothing
and bottles and nuclear reactors and other
flushing stuff down into the sewer system. And so
Yeah. So
maybe
so generally
start with
the
a letter.
yeah the sewer code certainly prohibits people from placing things down into the system. The real hard part is always how do you actually determine it and tie it back to a particular property. So this is basically investigation and enforcement. If
Nate,
we
you're not close enough to a microphone. We're having a difficult time hearing you.
let me try. Is this better? Okay.
Very much.
Yep. So the issue is investigation and enforcement. How do you really tie back to this property, what you're claiming? And, we can have an offline discussion about that and, what steps we need to take to try and fix the issue. But ultimately, a court action is how you gain compliance if they don't cooperate. So most likely some, notice of violation, order of remedy scenario.
Okay, well, could we do like a generic, letter to all the businesses around?
Or everybody, I guess, right?
Yeah, send it out to everybody, and then,
I mean, that wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, you absolutely can, right? The problem will be when you send a generic blast like that, people don't necessarily feel singled out. And if it's really tied to a particular property, then we need to be real certain about that. But
yeah. Well,
that's not a bad idea, Fran. It's just
letter after a few weeks or whatever, you can always go directly to them and say, this is where this line is getting clogged up and it appears to be coming from your building.
Well, yeah, and I mean, this stuff has a cost, because we're just approved a quote for $10,000 to replace pumps.
Yeah, so
we're gonna stop flushing, so it doesn't get pushed down.
Because we don't know where it's coming from for sure.
well, that's the thing, though. I mean, Rusty, maybe it seems self-evident. I don't know exactly where the lay of the lines is over there. But any property owner, their first defense would be prove it, right? And so if we're going to send a letter to somebody saying, you need to do something about it, or we're going to start charging you, we need to be real certain, and be able to prove that we can tie it back to them. But this isn't a conversation for, open forum. This is, definitely attorney-client investigation, potential litigation.
Okay. We'll move on then.
Anything else? Okay. Anybody have anything for sewer? All right. Brett?
Okay, ongoing, events that we've been doing is the leaves in the village for the last 2 months. Got a hand on that. We got, 1 to 2 crews out every day doing leaves. Everything is coming together for the lights on the river. We got the snowflakes up. We're gonna do our test runs next week. We just got the tree, the Christmas tree for the courthouse square. That's up. We're gonna start decorating it after Thanksgiving. And that's pretty much it. It's just getting everything ready for the village. The one thing I do want to talk about that I did talk to the mayor about before the meeting is that something has to do with parking when snow hits. People don't move their cars and then they call us up after it thaws out and freezes the ice. I don't have the answers. The board has to do something about parking, especially Prospect, North Avenue, Front Street that stay there all the time that we can never plow their vehicles out.
I think now it's being known that they can't park after, what, 2 AM?
Yeah, but I
They
would,
don't really.
They
The
did
signs
get
have been up forever.
notices.
Yeah, they've been there
Yeah.
for 20 years.
they don't do it. Well, I'm just saying, something's gotta be done.
They did get notices, at least in the business district.
Yeah.
Because I know the state will plow that, but not if there's a car in the way. They won't
Correct.
even touch it.
Correct. And then they'll call you for months because once the ice is up, it takes forever.
Right.
And we can't salt it enough underneath the cars. We like to pile it in a pile so we can scoop it up the next day. Keep the intersection clear. Can't do that.
Rusty?
So two levels of this. One, we do have the ordinance that you can't park there anytime 2 to 5 in the morning, which we don't enforce. But if we do that, not that we shouldn't do that, that still only clears it for snow plowing from 2 to 5. If we want to plow that snow at 7 or 9 or noon,
Exactly, I can't tell you when
then,
it's.
then that wouldn't fix that particular piece. And then, of course, there are various places that have various rules and laws about when there's snow, you can't park here or there at that time. That would be
Yeah, or
new rules we have to make if we were going to do something difficult.
like alternate side parking. I went to Binghamton last weekend and got a note on my car because I was parked on the wrong side of the street.
And if our problem, and if our problem was in our residential neighborhoods, it doesn't mean that there's not some degree of problem there, but if that was a problem, opposite side would be more valuable. If the problem's downtown, opposite side, where we don't have any parking to start, will be a nightmare.
Well, it would clear each side every other day, but.
Yes, it would, and it would leave no parking there.
Right.
Yeah, but if you plowed, you know, like 10 o'clock in the morning.
I can't ever guarantee you what time we're.
Exactly, but, then, if people would move their car between 2 and 5, you could always, you know, if it was heavy snow, send somebody out.
You know, like you said, if we're gonna use that example, like Front Street, state's gonna just plow, and when they plow, they're just gonna push the snow up underneath the car. If you don't move your car, that snow pile's there forever. And I can't tell you what time Mother Nature's gonna make it snow, so.
But if there's one car in that parking
Yeah.
area, they won't take that truck.
Nope.
It's too big to be weaving around cars.
Well, I don't have a problem when I'm out at night to plow Front Street where the parking is. I don't care about that. But sometime during the day, that spot has to be plowed. Or we're just looking at a mess and we're looking at phone calls every day, people bitching.
If it's snowing, yeah, you gotta keep up on it.
Yeah. I'm just saying, even on the side streets of Prospect Street, all the small streets.
Yeah, the residential streets too, get
Yeah.
the same way.
Yep.
Sometimes after big storms, we've put up signs and done like the big snow removals. Would we be able to put up signs for those?
Yeah, but I gotta be able to push
spaces?
them up into the piles. If
Yeah.
they don't move their vehicles, I still can't push the snow no matter what I do. I mean, no matter what we do, the cars have to be gone.
But like a sign that says I'm gonna be, you know, no parking, and then at that point, then we'd be able to have it towed.
We already have laws and signs for 2 AM to 5.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, my looking at if it snows, I wanna push them in a pile now, get it done and over with.
What about if we have the cars towed when we have that issue? What's wrong with us just having, you know, having the cars towed when there's a problem?
Yeah, I don't care how we do it, we just need to do it.
In that business district, we could, because there's laws. I mean, if it's between 2 and 5.
But that doesn't help him if they get out of there from 2 to 5 and then they're there 6, Cindy, if they're there, but don't ask Cindy, if they're there from 6 and 8 and 10, it doesn't help him when his guys are out and about plowing.
If they can't park there from 2 to 5, they're not gonna move their car back there at
Bingo.
5:15. They're gonna leave it in the parking lot.
I would hope.
Let's
And then
take
they're not
everybody
gonna
on
sit
that
out
one.
there all week.
Right.
Right.
So if they're
We're
not
gonna
parking
sit
there
no
from
more.
2 to 5, those spots will be
All
empty.
week.
Right. Generally. that would
Yeah.
be-
No, it only takes,
Restaurants don't open until what time? So most of that parking, when they can't park there,
I don't know when Carol's.
9 o'clock in the morning. Those spots are empty if they can't park there, but when they can park there all night, they're there for weeks.
Right, because they don't ever move.
Yeah.
There was somebody complaining on Facebook, somebody, because there was something stuck on their windshield on their vehicle.
No idea.
About no parking.
Right, what the law was pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Oh, I saw that same thing.
You didn't have a title on the.
Yeah, it didn't say police, so I don't know if they put them out or somebody put them out. But that is the law.
You
I don't know, I
know,
just wanted you to think.
Yeah,
what we
possibly
can do.
just starting to tow cars might get like the worst offenders, you know. If it happens to them once, maybe they'll think
Hell,
about
there's
moving their
cars that
car.
are parked there for 3 to 4 or 5 days at a time.
Yeah.
I don't really want to open this can of worms.
Yeah.
And we tow cars,
Yeah,
where
but
do they go
if
with
they
that?
tow, we
But-
tow them and they gotta pay to get it back.
Mike-
People have to go
Mike's,
pay to get their
Mike's
car
trying to,
out of
Mike's
the
trying to
property.
talk here, kids.
So it's
So
no
that there in the
parking,
wheels.
Hey.
it's no parking
Mike,
2 to
baby's got
5,
the floor.
except we have no OPD 2 to 5 every day. We have OPD till 3, but they're not gonna be towing cars in their last hour. So if we really want to enforce this law, we gotta go 24/7 with OPD. Or cut out the morning, make them start at 10. And shift their schedules, which we can't do because of the union.
And we're also gonna have to make, because I've read that parking code 63 times, we're gonna have to make some newer laws because there's very few instances where we're allowed to tow somebody's car. So we'd have to make up some significant changes and
You
put some
gotta
new
get
stuff in effect.
so many warnings.
We don't just get to tow somebody.
We gotta make up some flyers, put under the door, somebody caught off guard. Everybody will, there's no reason that nobody should know this.
You would think that, Charles.
I know.
But that's some of the enforcement
You're in
issues.
your street.
And the sheriff refuses to enforce parking. Between those hours, because I've asked him.
And you need to raise the parking fee.
Well, yeah, and that's the other issue, it's only
For
$10.
$10, are you kidding me?
Well, they'd have to pay the tow company.
So those are the realistic, yeah, but to tow your car, like Rusty's saying, to actually bring the tow truck is a process.
Yeah, somebody has to notify the tow company.
No, it's more than that, you have to ticket them, you have to, it's like, it would take weeks to tow a car.
If you read all the if you read the 93 pages of traffic laws, there's not a whole bunch of things in there that say that you can tow somebody's car. In fact, there's almost nothing in there that say that you can tow somebody's car. Anyways, this is one of the things that we say we'll take care of later, but we don't want to wait 16 months to take care of it. That probably needs a group, a committee of somebody to be working on this soon.
We have a parking committee, right?
We do.
Why can't we get a local law and then we could buy our own tow truck and put it in a lot somewhere?
That's
I
what we
got a loader, I can load it myself.
We would have to make a
Call
local
up
law.
Fred, it's Fred in the morning and say,
Oh, I can scoop him up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm out of care.
You make a lot of money off the storage.
Right.
Storage fees alone on them.
I'd be down with that. I could be in
Just
the-
go.
Repo man.
Repo man's gone. Charles the repo man.
well, I think, if nothing else, we need to start publicizing it every week in the Penny Saver.
Right.
and
No,
Well,
we definitely do that.
the mayor and I talk about it a lot. When we know there's a heavy snowstorm coming, we ask everybody to get the cars off the street. It don't work.
I'm guilty of that, sorry.
Charles, I mean, you go down your street, it's only a goat path if you can get it through it.
When it's,
It is.
sunny
It's
out.
all, like, all the cars are out there. It's like a little goat path. Wow.
It's like a slalom, it goes.
Yeah. It would make my job a lot easier if cars were off the street so I could clean the streets.
Yes, it would.
You're the goat?
You got some streets though where people don't have anywhere to park, but
We got the
That's
county
true.
board here, right?
That's true.
Well, I think that they could walk a couple blocks if they really want to get the snow off the street.
Although it is interesting, when something happens, like construction or something, they find somewhere to park.
Yeah, bingo.
I'm just saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a will, there's a way. They can find a place to park. I mean, so what, they gotta walk a couple hundred yards, I'm sorry.
I'm thinking in Batavia, where my sister lives, no parking on the streets at night, period.
The town is,
Agreed.
In the village.
the town of Owego is that way, from
No parking.
certain dates.
Like November to March or
This is
so.
all, no, all year round.
Yeah, believe it or
All
not.
year round.
Yeah, that's how the town is. There's certain dates though in the town.
Yeah, November to.
There you go.
There you go.
Grew up in Appalachian, so I know you can park in the streets.
Mhm.
And they will tell you there.
All good.
I've got questions. So we're doing the hazard mitigation plan update meetings, and there's two left. Not this Thursday, but the next two Thursdays. And so for that, can you guys bring like a wish list of all the things that you want, for the village, you know, any trucks in the
You
future?
better put extension on your arm.
All kinds of things. So,
Yeah.
so like what it is that we need in the future to provide as services for the community, you know, like if you're, you know, when we're responding to storms and issues, you know, that we're, you know, doing storm work and all of that, it all applies. And so if we can get it in the plan, that's how we can get money for it, but it has to be in this plan to do it. So anything with the generators, like we'll
Total
be able to
generators?
get, it's everything that we're doing, we'll be able to get money to help with it, as long as we've got it identified. So that all the generators, like if you want more generators in the future, or when we want.
Every year.
Yeah, so it's like, that's how we would get the money for it. Because we're the Cedars identified community, that it's, we're like one of 400 communities who have, such, a critical status of what happens to us, that we'll be able to get the 90% funding, federal funding for our project. So like, as long as we have the whole list, like we can't ask for stuff after, we have to identify it now, and then and as long as it's on our list, we could get funding. So, so like all the stuff at the cemetery that we can find for the retention ponds, and like anything that we could dig out that, you know, shows stuff that we've identified we've needed in the past, and then everything that you want for the future, as long as we can get it on there, then we'd be able to find possible funding. And we don't have to do stuff that we have on there, it's just our wish list. So, I asked them to include maybe if say if the tunnel wasn't accessible in the future, would they put something in when they're doing the interstate, that we would have a way to have like one of those pull-offs and then a gate, and then we would be able to get the large trucks in and out. And even in the future, if the tunnel, you know, wasn't accessible, that you'd be able to just access the plant for everybody. But, you know, just ways that, you know, we wouldn't geographically get shut off. And so like any other ideas that, you know, that we can have, you know, repair the tunnel also is on the list. But just a secondary way to get to the access to the cleaning plant, or, you know, constant trucks and repairs, you know, because the trucks can't go through the tunnel anyway. And we spent so much money on building that road to go under the highway, you know, under the bridges and the creek. Like every time that washed out, it cost us $100,000 to rebuild the road. So, and we'd only be able to do that certain times a year. So if there's something that happens at the plant, you know, it'd be a little hard. So like having a highway access could, you know, potentially solve some of that access problems. And so anything that everybody can think of, as long as we can get it in like the next two meetings, will be, it helped big time.
So, are we gonna be having a satellite meeting here?
So our next two meetings are here, Yep.
Oh, they are
and-
here, okay.
Yep, and they're also on Zoom, so you can attend in person, here or wherever you are.
I don't mind this.
Okay. It's about an hour long, but
Yeah.
it has been going a little bit over each time.
In person is better.
Should I attend for evergreen purposes?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
So when is it?
It's Thursday at 2:30.
Not
Ne-
this
not-
Not
yeah.
Thanksgiving.
But the next two Thursdays.
The following Thursday.
Right. For 2 weeks, yeah.
This Thursday, we're at your house flushing turkey bones down the sewer.
And napkins.
They'll get caught at the Riverview Manor next door. Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, Laura doesn't have nearly enough to do. So I would recommend that the Traffic and Safety Committee, which is Dave Farrell, Laura and I, spend some time meet with,
Yeah,
What's his name?
plowing issue.
Goofball.
meet with Fred and just get going on a little bit on some of the ideas that might be about take care of some of the parking and snow, et cetera, et cetera.
Because the snow's coming.
Because we need to,
Yeah,
we don't need to wait 2 more weeks and then sit here and not know what we're doing. We need to get some ideas going a little bit.
Well, I mean,
And they may
this
not
should
be very good. It's complicated, but it doesn't matter. We need to at least get after it.
I agree.
You know, when we have a snow like we did 2 years ago, that's a hazardous situation.
All our rules, when we have that, our rules ain't gonna matter.
Keep that thing quiet.
All bets are off.
That 4 foot.
But I mean, that should be part of the hazard mitigation, plan for that type of situation.
All bets are off on that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else, DPW?
No, sir.
Anybody have anything else for Fred? Oh, I forgot. We got EMS back there.
Yeah, trying to head in the corner.
Usually I do fall first so we can leave,
As far as the vehicles go, 2032 is still out of service, getting fixed. Everything else is up and running. I wasn't as prepared as Paul in doing the report, and giving you the numbers of calls. But
That's fine.
everything else is up and running, and Grant's got our 3 new applicants.
Like I said, we got 3 new members.
Yeah. So thank you.
You want to do this, Fran?
Sure.
Somebody?
One is Brianna Bailey. She lives here in the village and already has EMT credits. So I would recommend her as a new person for the squad.
So the motion says that she lives in Johnson City.
Yeah, it says she lives at Sturtevant Street in Johnson City on the.
Oh, excuse me, all right.
Which is fine as long as
Just-
she's gonna.
She has to be,
Right.
no, has to know that when she's, has signed, she has to stay in the village.
Right.
at that time.
That's true. Or within 10 minutes. of the village.
Yeah, no, she'll stay central when she's here.
Okay. All right. Anybody second?
Charles.
Anybody have any questions on her?
And it says, remind me your name. I'm sorry. I can't.
Brianna
Mike.
Bailey.
Mike.
No, that's my name.
No. She wants it for a journal. Tell her your name.
Michael.
No, tell her your name. Michael, is that it? You don't have a last name?
No, I do. Last name's Roden.
That's what she wants to write it down. You spoke for the EMS. She wants to put it in the journal, as do I.
Thank you.
I'm Mike. Damn it.
Guy with his own fire trucks.
Thank you. I had a quick question. It says here on her thing that she's an EMT. She's already an EMT.
She already is an EMT.
Most excellent.
Any other discussion on Brianna? Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Grant?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Yes. All right, moving on.
Okay, the next one is Jessica Akers, yeah. And she lives in North Valley. She Well, there was a question on her, as far as, some, traffic violations, but, until that's off her record, she would be driving.
Oh, right, okay.
I'll second it.
Any questions on Jessica?
We will, in good faith, take the leadership from the EMS that they will take care of that appropriately.
Yeah.
I have no questions.
Shall we vote? Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Fran?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
And yes.
Okay, and the third one is, Kevin Haynes, and he is on Page Street in Owego. He,
Right next door.
Johnson City.
he has, no, Page Street in Owego. He has, expired EMT license, but he's, going to, get that renewed. And, I don't know how long that takes, Mike.
Usually just like the spring class, you have to redo it, so it'll start at like January, so it'll be the ballot. You just gotta go through precepting time and that kind of stuff.
Okay. Do you have a second for him?
I'm second. Charles did.
All right, good.
Second and everything.
Any discussion on Kevin? Rusty?
Like, no, just here to there. He's right in the village. He's on Page Street. I like this. That's good. I mean, we don't have a lot of our volunteers and our people everywhere are all over the place. So it's good that village residents are available and doing some of this stuff. Yes.
I agree.
Yeah.
Laura?
Yes.
Fran?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
And yes. All right. You should tell them all, thank you for volunteering.
I will, thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Anybody have anything else for EMS? We'll do the fire department. They're not here. We got one new member for the fire department.
I have a question about
Did you get
that.
any? Did you have any paperwork for that? We did.
There is, it came today in an email after the agenda. So it came from Nikki.
What's this?
This paperwork that you have, came in an email later today. Or yesterday, I think. So on the sheet, it doesn't say if he's had a physical and stuff like that. And so I was just curious about like when, when John Loftus was here at the last meeting and he was talking about the green tag people and stuff like that. When we have intake of new members, what would be their status when they come in? And then like, how's that process go?
There's newbies.
They're a newbie and then somehow they go through some training and then would get their green tag?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, when they're on, they don't have anything.
Okay.
We don't get these, this coming in, whatever, these are not things that come to us. The yellow form that says they've already been approved and stuff. So this is not something we get, this is something internal in the fire department.
Right.
I don't know why we have it, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it is a process, it's a big process.
But your question was, what are they, what do they do? They get elected to the fire department by a company, the fire board approves them, some comes to us, we approve them. They then go to what's called new member training, which is the standard basic training for firemen. They then decide if from there where they might want to go, what thing they might want to do. If they want to be an interior firefighter,
Okay.
a lot of classes and training to do that.
That's how they get into the green tag.
That's a green
to
tag, an
enter
interior fire.
the
Yeah,
building.
that's a pilot training.
Yeah, you gotta learn how to roll hose and stuff.
So that's why we have, and that's why we have 7 green tag members
You don't want to know that.
Yeah.
You don't want to know that whole thing.
out of everything. But like,
We do not have 7 green tag
Yeah.
members.
okay,
You want me to tell you that real quick, or you want me to shut up?
we can talk on the phone another
Yes,
time.
we can.
All right, let's do that. But yeah, I just wanted, like, because he brought it up about, worrying about how the
Right.
a little bit about how many people we had and here's a new member. I just kind of wanted to know, like,
It's legitimate.
a little bit about it. Okay.
There's a whole process and there's a lot of training. I'm sure.
Okay.
Physical is probably one of the checkboxes that we have to go through.
Yeah, they whited out his social security number. I appreciate that.
That's good.
Once again, that should, this is not
Yeah, we're not supposed to.
for
do that.
public, stuff here. So did we approve this person last time?
No, we didn't have his name. So we can do it now.
We didn't have their name last time?
I'll make the motion.
Do we have his paper to sign?
The yellow paper sheet that we signed, I don't, Charles there?
I didn't, that's why I'm asking, I didn't get that email. You said after the agenda, I didn't see it.
I got the little form.
No, yeah, we got this paper, not that, not the one that we signed.
The certificate.
Do we have to eventually sign the certificate. Do we have to have that with us when we approve it?
No.
So we'll approve them now, we'll sign
Yeah,
it.
that's all I got.
This is some piece of work that Rodney has told us something.
Yeah, I know.
That's the same as
That other thing.
And I still-
think is
It
good paper.
didn't mention anything, it didn't go into specifics.
And I can't read the person's name. Can anybody read
It's
that?
Hunter Frechette.
You can read that?
It's on the agenda.
Frechette. There's a Frechette Day.
Charles, we got a motion?
Yes.
Second.
Second.
It's for Hunter Frechette,
Frechette.
from Fox Street.
Another Owego person.
Another one of my neighbors.
It would be for company 4.
Yep, number 4, company.
All right. Any discussion on Hunter? Besides the general membership discussion we had. Michelle, Rusty.
I did have a question. Do we have age? I can't read it.
I think he's,
I was trying to.
he's
figure that
18
out.
something,
He's 18.
18 years old.
Okay. Oh, thank you.
That's good. Always need young blood.
Yeah, that's good. Real good. Rusty.
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
Fran.
Yes.
Charles.
Yes.
And yes. All right. Once we get his little certificate, we can sign that. That's all it is. The certificate.
Yeah. The application.
All right. Police department. Do we have anything from the police department?
Trying to remember, Mike. I think we do not.
I don't have anything from them.
Just thinking real quick. Lights on the river, that's all being under control. No,
Other than the same parking issues.
the,
Clerk's office, anything in clerk's office?
Other than we have the ongoing problem, paying for DRI.
Yeah.
Do a
So,
project without having any money to back it up. That's kind of crazy.
so I saw over the emails that were sent and, so, you know, at the last meeting, we talked about the new lights were installed and now we have our fresh warranty lights are sitting in the DPW. And then they sent some paperwork that said like, we saw it, right? But like, how is it that like, we're responsible for reading those designs? Like, we hired Hunt to look over those and, you know, make designs and stuff, and we clearly told them what we wanted.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they provided drawings and like, yeah, there's like all the, like I could see the,
So,
you know.
I know you're gonna think a long time ago, back when the first engineer,
Which wasn't even James, it was,
what was his name? The heck was his name?
Chris or something, I can't.
I was gonna say Chris too.
Chris, I think it is Chris. I think a lot of us got confused, I know I did, when they talked about the south side, if you're a local, you think south side of the bridge, right?
Yeah.
And they're thinking the south side was around Church Street, the south side of the village to the south side of the bridge.
Like south side of Main Street?
Yeah, pretty much.
First floor, pretty much.
Yeah. So when they say south side, I think of across the river.
Yeah.
South side of the river.
All of us
Bingo.
do, yeah.
But when, in fact, I'm not saying you did or didn't, but I'm just saying, but what I was told and how I took it by looking at it now, that was part of the lighting on the south side.
Yeah, well, James sent us all this stuff in email the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And on this cover page, it says right here.
Yep.
To 16 streetlights as
Yep.
needed along the gateway portion of
Yep.
South Side Drive. And then later down, it says, repair, connections on fixtures.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's
it
all from
says
church.
clearly, that's what we wanted.
Southside
There's
Drive.
nothing about.
That's on the other side of the river.
Yeah, if you look in this, if you look in it, it's a square coming down the,
I mean, it's right
down the
there.
bridge,
Clear
and
as
it's a
can be.
square around Church Street. If you look on the prints that he sent over, that's what it shows.
But that's where we were gonna have electric boxes replaced. So like,
We,
obviously.
That's
looking
what
at
we
it-
were gonna do.
yeah, but I had it done when I first started. I did all that.
Although,
Yeah, we did that all
the down, the
Yeah.
bottom.
We did it all ourselves.
But like, you know, an engineer or somebody is supposed to identify that stuff for us, like we're not gonna be able to look on a chart and know whether, you know, they've identified something to replace the electric box on the pole or to replace the light bulb on that pole. How are we supposed to know that from those charts that we approved, right?
Right.
The Hunt, you know, we hired Hunt and we actually hired, we paid extra to have Kaufman and Gerhardt cover this stuff for us.
Well, no, Hunt hired Watson to do the electrical.
Yeah, well, they hire people to do the work, but they're organizing it for us.
Got lost in translation.
And so what else are they messing up?
Like you said, people who don't live here don't know where south side is south side.
Except it is called Southside Drive, the name of the street that they were supposed to be replacing the lights on.
Well,
Right.
not necessarily, because
It
once
says there,
again-
Southside Drive.
no, it doesn't. If you look
Yes,
at
it
the,
does. Read it out loud there, Rusty.
it's on the prints, it shows the square of Church Street all the way down. That's part of it, and it goes all the way up the bridge.
That's just the write-up that was in the DRI.
Yeah.
book.
Well,
On the prints, it shows it.
So they made a print of stuff that wasn't in the DRI.
So that
they didn't follow the DRI, then DRI.
No, that's what they did.
So where are we now?
So
Well,
there's a meeting tomorrow at 10.
10.
To talk about this.
I mean, it states it right there, 16 light
That's the-
fixtures and to replace the other electrical.
The downtown
connections.
electrical connections, yep.
so the electrical
And they did
connections are on the sheet and they haven't been done yet.
Yeah, they have.
The electrical stuff has been replaced.
Yeah, that's the problem is that we already changed it when I first started.
Okay,
So all the light bulbs,
All the new stuff is sitting dormant.
so.
no, the new stuff is up. The old stuff from the last
The
week.
old new stuff.
Electrical connections were the outlets on the,
That's a
around
different
Fort
topic.
Street.
Correct.
But we still under warranty with that other stuff.
That's the
That's the
problem.
light fixtures.
So that's not the problem we're trying to bring up here. The problem that we're trying to bring up from the clerk's office end is we just passed out a sheet. We've paid out $552,694.51 to our contractors for doing our work. We have submitted that money to the state. We haven't gotten a single check back.
No, we did get a check back. We got, actually, we submitted,
Well, we've got 282,000.
we submitted about $800,000. We got back 280,000. They shorted us 10,000. We don't know why yet. We gotta figure out why they shorted us. And then we have another one ready to go, sitting on the desk in there for $552,000. So, I don't know, we're gonna have to maybe go to a bond and pay the interest and all that kind of stuff.
So all this stuff is paid for already.
Because it's a reimbursement thing. So we gotta pay the
Right.
bills and then we submit to the state, they pay us back.
Yeah,
But that paying us back takes 8 months.
Yeah, we just got a check from May, we sent them in May, we just got a check yesterday, like last week. So we're fronting the money, and if we have to borrow money, it's gonna cost us $150,000, $200,000 to.
Which could have went towards fixing the clock tower.
So I've already asked a question of,
If they did a quick turnover, we could probably work something out. It's so slow.
so slow.
It ties up all our money.
So is there anything
Mike, what were you saying?
on this list in the future that we could avoid that kind of thing happening again if we don't see it foreseeable?
Don't get state grants.
Yeah. The good thing is,
But you had a
maybe,
point.
maybe nothing will happen for the next 6 months if we get caught up. Then we'll have another big chunk coming up in the spring, so we gotta.
Is the tennis court gonna still happen like now?
Yeah, oh yeah.
What, asphalt's over with it by
Well, right, it'll happen this spring.
Okay, so that's a haul that we don't have to come up with right now. And the bathroom, like,
Or we're gonna have to come up with all that in the spring.
right, well, I mean, just hoping that we got the money back from what we just spent now.
And the fire station.
Yeah.
We got a lot of stuff.
There's still a lot of.
And I've asked the question, if we take a loan, the DRI, like, we can't use any of the DRI money to pay the interest on the loan at all. The state's already answered that question, that's definitely a no.
Which is wonderful because of their system of not paying till we've paid and then
Takes
a
8
long time
months to get
afterwards.
paid.
That's an unintended expense on our part. Thank you, state.
And like Rodney said, I mean, on a loan like we're looking at, it's $200,000. I mean, you gotta have a $2 million short-term loan.
I think the problem is our management of it, like, we don't have enough people to be looking it over that, where we're, who know what they're looking at the schematics and stuff like that. And the bathroom at Marvin Park, like, something was wrong with the plumbing design or something like that, or the water lines, or
Sewer line had moved.
the sewer lines were moved, that we had to do something with that, right?
It's already done.
It's been done, but we had to make that correction, right? It wasn't, like, the plans were correct in the first place, and now.
Well, they didn't know where the sewer was until they had a contractor come in and locate the sewer and stuff.
Okay. So I've been hearing stuff about the bathrooms. Are they going to be handicapped accessible? Do they have the correct ramp? Are they elevated enough out of the floodplain?
So the floodplain answer is no, because you wouldn't be, I mean, you have to raise them 15 feet in the air or something like that.
So are you just saying that, or did you have somebody
Yeah, no, they've got
actually
elevations, and
look
it's higher
in
than
the?
the roof of the building.
So we know to appropriately build that in the floodplain where we're building a bathroom, it would need to be up higher, and we're not building it the way that we would need to be.
Right. Well, we're flood proofing it.
Right.
So that it
As
doesn't
best
get
we can,
damaged.
yeah.
Correct.
Because we're
That's
just
the law.
replacing the bathroom that's already there.
We are adding, flood drains into the walls. So the water comes in, it'll come back out.
But
So
we
that
can't
was,
really
that was
flood.
looked into, so that's the best we can do. on
Flood
those
levels
sort of
above the roof.
I didn't see that go through any floodplain special permit. I didn't see
3 years ago.
anybody look at the design of the building for flooding stuff.
Code enforcement.
Were they here though 4 years ago?
Who knows?
Exactly.
Nobody in code enforcement has their certified floodplain managers training or, stuff like that. Vic is going to be getting that, but he doesn't have the training yet for all of that. There should be maybe somebody who's looked it over.
Well, I'll say
For
it again
us.
for the 75,000th time, there's a meeting every Friday at 10 a.m. with our architects about all of this technical stuff. The only person that ever has been to it is me. You're all invited, I've sent the link a million times. So if you really have interest, show up every Friday. But this issue is about our cash flow and about the loan we're gonna have to take out, not about the technical side of the project.
I'm just telling you,
Rusty?
we're gonna make it work for a while yet.
That was the point I was just gonna make. All your points and thoughts and complaints are not about how many of these projects are working and going, some are legitimate, but they're not to the point of what we're talking about right now. We're talking about right now, and we'll talk about that other stuff too, but we don't want to interrupt one piece and bring another piece and bring another piece into it. We're talking about getting the money to pay for these projects that the state won't give us till after we've paid it, and then till they please or after that.
And that's not anything we do, it's we
And
send
we
them
are
the
in-
payment and they chew on it.
We are in a pile of trouble. Now, this isn't gonna sound very, I don't say about this, but one of the things that won't make somebody happy is we might not be paying them as fast as they wanna be paid.
Well, yeah, 'cause we can't.
Because we can't.
I have some sitting there waiting to go out, but you got a meeting Monday, and there's a couple questions on some of the projects, so I'm just hanging on.
Mm-hmm.
And on the flip side of that, we can't really not pay our contractor because we have contracts with them, so they can.
That have rules and timelines.
They'll get paid. If the state would just turn around like a month later, pay us, I think we could swing everything.
Or
May,
like what happened on our,
August, September, October.
like what happened on our sewer plant project, and I've told this to the state, and the state's well aware of it, but, like when we got all of our grants, WQIPs and whatever for the sewer plant, the grants work the same way, except they turn around and through EFC give you a 0% loan for the whole amount you got.
Right.
From day one, so that you have the money sitting in the bank. And then you pay back the loan as the grant comes in.
So that was a good thing they did, but they're not
They
going to
didn't
do that on this
Yes.
particular thing.
Yeah.
Same with the FEMA, with people raising their houses, they would give, the homeowner would submit the bill, we would submit it to FEMA, FEMA pays us, and then we pay them. We didn't pay them and then wait for the check.
A lot of those other ones, like the reimbursement happens in weeks, not months.
But yeah, I'm still working on that, I'm trying to figure out how to.
So as usual, as the things that we say it here, oh my goodness, what are we gonna do? But if we don't, if 2 weeks from now, we haven't talked about it at all, thought about it at all, kind of start to work on it, and 2 more weeks, we need to be, when these things come up, no, we don't wanna take action on them in 3 minutes right here, but we wanna be getting ready to get going on this.
I'm just pointing out.
Yeah, no, you're right.
We have $581,000 billed out.
Yeah.
Haven't received it yet. And on top of that, we got $552,000 ready to get billed out. So if they paid us back to 582, we could make it work, but we can't make like millions of dollars to just disappear and just hope for it to come back.
Especially when our whole budget's only $3 million.
But once again, Rodney, all that stuff is correct, but to say, well, if they do this, then our problem will be solved. They're not gonna do it, so we have to solve our problem by ourselves in another way. And one of those ways, it's not easy and it won't probably help, but is to be nagging at them within control. Because I've watched us nag at the state before and get in trouble. Nagging at them to a degree within control, saying we're in deep trouble here, we're distressed, we don't have money, we need your help on this. Even though Mike's already done it, and they've said no, but.
Well, yeah, and I will say Julie Sweet from the Department of State said that pretty much every DRI community has this same exact problem.
Okay.
I'm willing to take on another title as enforcer.
All right, we're gonna need you.
Collector.
What the Bennington, Department of State.
And the other thing we can do, which we might have to do, is we can borrow among our accounts that we have, we can borrow from the money that we have, pay ourselves back. So that's a possibility.
It is, that gets messy.
Where's Peter? We're gonna borrow it from the cemetery perpetual fund, not for payment to pay these bills.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
I'm joking, but I'm not.
Just put it back there, I mean, it's a possibility, but it's better than paying $150,000 worth of interest. So, that's just a possibility. I gotta get everybody paid, I just gotta figure out how to do it. Okay, enough of that. We'll figure it.
I will say one last piece on this now, as I lectured now, every meeting I'm getting boring. You're ready to throw some money around again at whatever thing that we want to give people this, we want to do that. Remember we said before, 150 grand for the police station, 300 grand for the cops grant. Make it $100,000 in interest for this or whatever the number is. We don't have much money to throw around anymore.
Well, that leads
I
me
mean,
to the next
we don't have any money to throw around, in a sense. Okay.
That leads on to the next topic.
Yeah, let's get to the next one.
ARPA money and COVID thing. So this is just down there to remind us that we're supposed to be working on.
And we need to keep thinking about that, and we keep saying, if that turns out to be $20,000-$40,000,
Which it is.
which it is.
Something thousand for for our full-time guys.
And once again, once you give it to them,
So you guys can do what you want to do. I just put on there so that we don't forget about it.
let's
Are you
keep
talking
thinking.
with that, talking with Nate about that? That's what-
It was supposed to be earlier, but you know.
Yeah.
We didn't.
I was here.
That's gonna be in our big executive session, which I don't know when we're gonna have, but it's gonna be in our big one. I know it should be when Nate's here.
And the
Thank you
next-
guys for being here.
The next thing on the agenda is the same thing. This is the storage container, so we can set a public hearing if you want, or it's on here as a reminder that we're supposed to be looking at it.
That's the ones that's around town that shouldn't be there that much.
Well, so Nate drafted up a law, there were some comments from Rusty and Laura, but I don't know if they got.
I have, once again, I have on my copy, which I just dug out of the pile of everything, a number of the small things that seem to be logical or that we might want to do, but we still haven't, Nate and I haven't gotten together to try it, or whoever, to try and put the final version. And once again, having the public hearing before we got the final version isn't really the way to do business.
Well, that's fine, maybe next time.
Yeah,
I
and
know we keep putting it off, but
yeah, we didn't change it from like, when we talked about the signs and stuff on it. It still has like the one sign. It hasn't changed from, when we.
Was that, have we turned that over to Nate already?
Did you guys get them all your markups?
No.
I haven't given it, I've spoken with him, but it's, people are busy and
Do that.
So,
Other
yeah,
than that, I'll just keep it on the agenda to remind us we're supposed to do it.
okay. So, so Rusty and I both have comments on that before it gets.
Another thing that we gave a couple of months ago is, they want you to have a public hearing on the spectrum contract.
Oh, yeah, the franchise agreement.
Franchise.
Oh, well, I have questions for them, so if they could send somebody to our meeting, we can ask them.
I don't think they'll come to our meeting. We gotta ask them to.
Okay.
Nate, can we ask those guys to do that? Nate's been-
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Can we have like a special meeting like next,
Their service has been awful.
the 27th, is that all open? I mean, we need to discuss some stuff, but I don't get a chance to talk about stuff.
other things too.
Stuff. I mean, next Monday is open, we could, if it's open for everyone, I mean, it's open for me. So to speak for everybody, but we need a meeting, just stuff that we don't get a chance to talk about.
Like an executive session kind of meeting?
Yeah.
That'd be best.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Talk to Nate too.
Right, Nate? You agree?
I could do something next Monday, like 7:30.
We're speaking about a special meeting next Monday, 7:30, executive kind of thing.
Be an attorney-client session.
An attorney-client section.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you're not supposed to schedule executive sessions in advance, but if the intent is you guys need attorney-client advice on a number of things, then yeah, definitely happy to go out. Always happy. 7:30, I'm available on the 27th.
Come here and meet with us?
Can't hear you again.
Bring the baby.
Yes, I'd go out there in person, Fran.
Okay, so let's plan on that.
Executive session next Monday, 7:30.
It's just an attorney-client meeting.
Attorney-client meeting next. I move that. Do we move, we make that motion, or?
Yeah, make a.
Yeah.
I move that we do that.
7:30.
So, if you anticipate taking any action next Monday, then it should be noticed as a regular meeting. You would open it, and then we'd adjourn for an attorney-client session on whatever the topics you want to discuss with me specifically about, and then go back in a regular session to have your own, the substantive discussion about which path you might want to take in public, and then vote if you're anticipating voting on anything or needing to discuss internally.
I would say we just use it to get ready for the next meeting.
We don't anticipate an action.
you have left over for?
Which the next meeting actually would be till December 4th. But yeah.
So that's the 27th.
7:30, right?
7:30.
So it's written.
So that'll hopefully help us clear up some of this stuff. Obviously, in there. Well, we won't do anything there. We'll just talk about it. And then it'll all
Talk
happen
about stuff.
December 4th.
The things that are, we need.
Yeah. Treasurer's report. Everybody get it?
Yep, I didn't see anything off of any of those. I motion to approve treasurer's report.
Second.
Any discussion?
I did not see the bank statement for October.
I didn't either, actually. I didn't see that last page.
There's no. You did not
I didn't
get
get
that
that.
September one adjusted yet.
What did we do?
It was not.
There it is.
I have a general fund.
It was not,
EMS
okay.
Then the last page.
programs.
Well, it
Like you said, it's on the last page. This one here?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it was not on the computer.
Yeah, question about EMS.
Well, that's what I'm
Saying
like,
like
Oh, yeah.
what all we
Okay.
got,
put it at the plan.
3 departments.
You still don't have, the beginning balance on the, or anything on, as far as the Doris Edwards account. I mean, you got all those blank spaces, and there was a balance from before, the previous month.
Bottom line there, the headstone repair.
Yeah, and they,
Oh, here.
still have not adjusted the amount that's in the Evergreen Cemetery fund. That should be like 200,000 and something. You still got the original balance from about 5 months ago. Headstone. You got them all spread around. It's hard to find them. Yeah, the new. Yeah, that, at the bottom on the headstone fund, that was created back in the beginning of September. You don't have the balance from, September statement. Doesn't start out with anything.
What do we have in there now?
I don't know. I don't know what we have in there now. I know what we had in September. I gave you these sheets.
What does it say?
It says that's the balance. What's the starting amount? There's nothing there. And what's the activity on it? Same with the Doris Edwards account. You've got a balance, but there was a beginning balance. Should be a beginning balance. And like I said, what you have in the Evergreen Perpetual Care Fund, that's not the adequate amount.
That's the total of all.
That's not what's in the account now. The account is 200 and something. Thousand.
That's the total of all.
I mean, I gave you those figures that I got from the bank before. So I mean, at least you could have the starting balance from there.
We'll correct this last page with the cemetery.
I mean, I asked for the correction with the September statement. We never got it.
Pretty sure we put it in your box. What did we What if I gave you the whole statement from the bank, put it in your file?
I gave you these statements from the bank.
I gave you the ones.
This should be corrected from September. It's not accurate. And October is not accurate.
This is what we have from the bank.
They have to be corrected.
We were looking.
So are we going to
If
hold
you
off
go
on
into
that?
somebody wants to know what our bank statement was from September, that list you have you would have in the file is not correct.
Where did I get that list?
Public, if the public came in and
Where did I
requested,
get the list? I got the list from the bank. I don't make it up. I got the list
you
from the
make
bank.
up this.
That I make.
This is incorrect. And the bank statements for September were incorrect.
So should we hold off on the treasurer's report from next time?
Yeah. we
I
need to
withdraw my
correct.
second on the treasurer's report motion.
I withdraw the motion.
Okay, so we will hold off on that one. Rodney, you can fix that last page. Check with the bank. Maybe we should just print out all the bank statements for cash. Are you ready? It'd be easier. All right. Minutes.
I have just a few things from my report that I would change.
Or the minutes, okay.
In the minutes, yeah. So I will email what I'd like it to say.
Okay.
And it's really just slight variation, like, I didn't meet with Jason Fem, he would like to meet with us, so we wanted to get a meeting together. And then just some acronyms to change and stuff. And so I'll send that over, and then Rusty has something.
So are we going to potentially approve these minutes with those corrections?
Right.
Okay, this is a little tiny thing, but I still like things to be done somewhat correctly. When we don't take an action, what we did was we didn't take an action. We didn't table a motion. So many times in the minutes, and 2 or 3 times here, it says tabled motion for new fire member. No, we didn't table a motion. We didn't make the motion because we didn't have the action. And then tabled a motion to schedule a public hearing. No, we didn't make a motion for a public hearing and then table it, because that's a legal process. We make it, we second it, we table it. So none of those things are tabled. Just different verbology there when we do that no action was taken.
So
Is that all right?
Can we have it say no action taken for
I just
those?
say no action taken.
Yeah, instead of the tabling, yeah. Because that's an official thing.
So for each of those spots,
Well,
and then my
I-
section, you found something?
Well, on page 2, there was what James Beckham talked to us about.
Oh, boy.
And he did talk to us last time about the light situation with the DRI, so that should be in there, that James talked to us about the lights that were installed that we don't agree with.
Right.
And on page 6, under what I had talked about, I requested at that time that we get that amended bank statement for September. I gave Rod those pages that printout I got from the bank, and I had requested that last month.
So let's make no action on the minutes for tonight then, and we'll have them
Everybody get all your
spiffed up.
stuff.
Yeah.
One last note on that. So everybody's doing perfectly fine, and everybody that wants a correction or wants something that they said or heard somebody say added, that's fine. But the treasurer's job isn't to make a verbatim thing of this. Now, I'd say nobody did anything wrong, it's fine if you want to add, but he doesn't have to write down that Peckham said this and this and this and this and this. That's not what the meeting, I'm not complaining about you. You can say that you want that in there. You said it, you want it in there, that's fine. But just as you understand that he doesn't have to do that. It's not his job to do that. So if you see something that you don't like, bring it up like you're doing, that's perfect. But it doesn't have to be in there verbatim.
The other thing, give these to you guys a week and a half. You could bring it up before the meeting. I mean, make it be a lot easier. It says draft right on the thing I sent you. You guys are just reading them now and refining stuff.
Yeah, so I usually send out the same, sometime this
Normally
week.
I don't, I wouldn't. Okay.
Well, I checked my email today and that, there was, that bank statement thing was not a part of the financial record as of the last email.
Children?
I gave you a copy.
When we got here. When we got here, you gave me a copy. It was not sent in the email. So
No, I didn't
as far
send
as
email.
looking at ahead of
I
time,
gave you a
I did
physical
not.
copy.
What's next, Mike?
Well, moving on. So, yeah, changes to the minutes, get them to Katie. We'll get them all squared away.
Send in whatever you.
Trustee reports, isn't it? What else?
You should have me go last.
We'll have you
I
last.
really don't think I have anything, but I will.
Laura.
So for me, we had our hazard mitigation planning meeting last Thursday. We're gonna have another 2 meetings the next upcoming Thursdays, and everybody could come join. You get a lot of information, and we're really trying to,
Good ideas.
yeah, plan for, big responses and just getting our, planning for our future. And there's money, so it's kind of exciting that we could be able to affect some change. So I did a couple other meetings and stuff. There was a webinar, Making Mitigation Work, Networking Resilience, Connecting Underserved Communities to Mitigation Resources. And Julie Nucci was one of the presenters. That was pretty awesome. For just a second. Kevin Millar sent me an email about a grant for the Emerald, or what are the trees that Emerald Ash for? Hemlocks. So, we have the huge strand of hemlocks that are affected by, the ash borer coming in, and they're all by the Owego Creek. And so maybe Willie Adelton does the
That goes for the
pine
hemlock.
trees.
That goes for the
Those are the hemlocks, yeah.
The
Okay.
emerald ash borer goes for the ash trees.
Emerald ash borer,
Sorry.
okay. So it's the emerald ash borer and it's the ash trees. That's the strand that we have all by the Owego Creek, right?
Okay.
And so it's an invasive species attacking them and killing all those trees. And so, I'm thinking if I can write that grant, we could get somebody to plant more trees, and that way we could have, trees growing. Because like when those trees fall and wash out, we're losing our creek stability, the bank stability, the buffer zone, and a lot of the wetland absorption. So this would be sort of planting in before we have the bigger problem, just to help that. So that would be
Could that
something.
grant include removal of the dead trees? Because that's a big expense.
I don't know. This grant isn't for that much money. This grant wouldn't cover removals. It wouldn't be enough. It would only cover maybe a plan or plantings. But we have Soil and Water has offered to work with us for planting all along that zone.
Okay.
And so if we, they identified the certain distances and swaths and the amount of feet. They've identified what trees and plantings are the best for the site. And that helps us with flooding and retention water. And they will do it for our lands. They've already done an assessment of all the open grasslands and stuff that we have. So So they identified certain places that the village owns and then certain places that other property owners own, and they can help them plant trees on there. This is like up on the hills as they're coming down and along the creeks. And so that's like in process. The Climate Smart Communities Task Force is working with Soil Water on that. So sort of the interplay of how that works together. But this would help with like just that kind of specific set of trees that would, could cause an issue when they come down, how everything piles up and creates a dam and stuff. So it would just be like getting ahead of that a little bit. I guess that's it for me.
Okay. Right.
Nothing.
Charles?
Santa Claus has come to town.
So you did the Santa thing, right?
Yeah, I helped escort Santa into town. I rode with Owego's finest. Not in the back seat though. Make sure.
For an escort, it wasn't a parade.
It wasn't a parade, it was an escort. So that was successful. We went around twice.
Same as we escort the buses home for the kids.
Yeah.
Not a parade.
Not a parade. Don't get that mixed up. I've been asked by the Tioga County Chamber of Commerce to attend the Community Awards, which is going to be held at Tioga Downs.
Next week.
That's on the 30th, from 2:30 to 4:30. Awards will be given to some businesses that we know here in the village. Small Business of the Year is going to be awarded to Confection Connection. Company of the Year is State Line Auto Auction. Leadership Tioga Alumni is going to Bob Williams. Community Service Award is going to be awarded to Scott Smith and Sons.
Great.
And Women-Owned Minority Business is going to go to Carol's Coffee and Art Bar, which is really good. So I'll be there to help with that. Hope I don't have to do a stand-up comedy routine.
Well, thanks for representing.
You're gonna do one.
Representing. It's on the 30th. Friday, it won't be stand-up. I have to sit down for it.
What time?
2:30 to 4:30 at Tioga Downs Casino and Resort.
What are the prices on those tickets? Isn't that something big?
They are.
Yeah.
Give us a number.
$35 for non-member to attend, and then it was like $3,000. A lot of sponsors are on. There's entry fees and whatnot. I have inside scoop.
Yep.
But if you want to get online, you can see it on Tioga Downs. If not, I'll probably record some of it and put it on the Facebook page. Circumnavigate that. We're supposed to be having some snow on Thanksgiving.
I saw something about that.
I thought that was a.
Holding up other house.
No, that's just a clickbait, right?
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
That keeps changing.
Okay.
The latest on Channel 12 last night was sunny on.
Yeah, I thought it was nice on stuff.
Yeah, but it keeps. Snow's coming. Is it gonna be that day? It's gonna be north.
It's supposed to be little to, but accumulate this, trace to an inch.
Right. But cold.
But that thing
crappy.
Thursday, I heard, that's Buffalo.
Oh, the big storm.
I just want to make sure everybody travels safely for the holiday. Have fun with your family. Time is important. Family time. Be safe. That's all I got to say about that. I seen on the agenda there was something there. I think we skipped over it. I don't know if we could move it. It was about the garage door mural.
Oh, well, I better take that off just because I know you were working that.
I know, I was supposed to have a meeting with Stephen Michael. He had some ideas for fundraising.
Okay.
But he was busy this week, so it's no rush. I mean, working on it.
Right. Work in progress.
That's
Are you still good?
Oh, you know.
We're circling back. to-
Yeah, we always do. Just what I do. I'm not, and everybody I'm talking to is not particularly pleased with our fence at Marvin Park. It is what it is. The day after we had the last meeting, I went over and looked at those stone columns. I have a particular opinion about it. I like those in their antiqueness. I think we should keep those columns, put something, I mean, we can pretty them just a tiniest bit, but I don't want to change them or hardly anything. Put some plaques on them that commemorate Marvin Park and historic this or that, and we're keeping the, or whatever it is, historic columns, blah, blah. I think that's what we should do. We should not pay a whole bunch of money to make them into something else, and we should not take them down. They're kind of neat in a way, of their antiqueness and of their oldness.
I totally agree with that, and that's probably one of the stuff that we can talk about.
Yeah, as long as they're not gonna fall down, I would agree.
Yeah.
Oh, and James told us that they're pretty solid. It probably shouldn't
Hey,
be
they lasted,
a
what,
problem.
20 years?
Anyway,
At least, yeah.
so that's,
20 years.
yeah, yes.
Less
Cheaper to
is
keep
nice.
them, and they're kind of neat.
Yeah, true. They are kind of neat. All right, are we good trustee reports? All right. Communications,
Yes.
Yes.
I don't have anything other than what we've already discussed.
communications, lights on the river is December 1st, which is before our next meeting, so. That should be a fun time. Mayor's report. Not a ton. So I have been, so the hot topic is homelessness. So we had the people come last meeting. So I have been opening this building Sundays, 9 to 11, just for whoever shows up. It's a warm building. Make coffee, hang out for a couple hours. It is what it is. First week, a couple people came. Yesterday, nobody came. I've also been working with a guy who is licensed to do a bunch of stuff and has a bunch of licenses for drones and flying stuff from FCC and FAA and whatever. And he's been trying to help us find homeless people. And we've only found 6 people. So we found a lot of empty camps. So he's trying to help us clean some of those up. But we've only actually found 6
It's
actual
almost like the
people.
fire department only has 7 firefighters.
Yeah, yeah.
We know there's more out there.
No, 6.
Yeah.
If you read Facebook, you would think there was 60 of them, but we've only found 6 people.
And the weather may have driven many
Right.
away.
Yeah, no, I mean, the camps that he's videoed and we found had a lot of people in them at one point. So. And that's, those 6 people he's looked in the town and the village, not just the village, so. All the ones you think of, you know, McDonald's and Hickory's and over here and by the.
Railroad tracks.
The railroad tracks by the mission. So anyway, we're trying to figure that issue out. But the building is open, obviously it's open Monday to Friday, public building.
Well,
That's right.
not every inch of it. I mean,
No,
this room isn't open.
The lobby.
The lobby.
And we have had some stuff donated. Some of his packs that he's been giving out are out here. You guys can look at them if you want. It's a little backpack. It has a blanket and some other junk in it. Somebody donated some hand warmers. And there's some hats and gloves out there. So if somebody needs something, they're on the bench. Other than that, I'm here every Sunday from 9 to 11. Eventually, I might need some of your guys' help because there are a couple weeks out of town. But my plan is at least through the winter to don't do anything, so whatever. I'll sit over here instead of home.
I'm pretty sure there's 21 and 6. Maybe if we get an accurate count of the carts that are missing from Price Chopper and Grand Union, you're probably coming to a closer number.
And the question is, the homeless isn't necessarily just because they are wandering around at nighttime. They may have a place to go warm. But there's a lot of people that are out garbage picking and scrap metal picking and stuff like that. They're not necessarily living in a tent.
And that other grocery carts get taken by the homeless.
Right.
True that.
So anyway,
Yeah, there's another word, it's destitute. There are people that have something over their head that are destitute.
or a buddy's house or whatever.
I agree with Mike. Once again, we do whatever we do. And obviously, we're not doing a whole tremendous amount because obviously we don't have the resources like all the money we're just talking about. But this really is a job for the county, and it's a job for the nonprofits, and it's a job for the churches. Guess, and this doesn't sound, I know they don't want it, but from 9 to 11 on Sunday morning, there's a whole lot of places they can go.
Right.
And they're called churches. And the churches turn no one away and want to help people and everything. So I mean, there are some resources.
And they've been doing a lot too.
Yep, and that's a good thing. And we'll see if the common ground happens or what eventually comes with that. We'll find out.
That's that building right behind.
On Armstrong and Main.
Okay.
We'll see.
Haven Arrest on Thursdays, Chili Dog Thursday,
Yeah.
every week.
This week, there's a free
Thanksgiving dinner.
at
There's what?
Bob's.
Yep.
There's
Yeah,
what?
Haven Arrest.
Yep,
Free
Haven Arrest,
Thanksgiving
yep.
dinner.
What days are you doing it? Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving, I think, right?
Yeah.
It's, what's her thing across the street there?
Debbie Smith?
Yeah.
Yeah, Debbie Smith.
Joshua's house is.
Yeah, Joshua.
I know
They're
Sebby.
gonna have the dinner in Joshua House?
No, it's at Haven of Rest. It's a bigger place.
I know Sebby is really good at advertising different places every day.
He is, and he's come, actually, I shouldn't say nobody came this week, because Sebby came. Comes hang out with us. We watch a movie on the thing, which is hard with the county internet. They block
What was the
everything.
movie?
This week we watched, something with Tim Allen, Christmas movie.
Okay.
Sebby likes Tim Allen, so. All right, public comment.
So pot stores generate 13% sales tax?
That is correct.
What was that?
The
13%?
dispensaries.
What, say again, Debbie?
Pot stores generate 13%?
I didn't say, I said Debbie, I meant Cindy, sorry.
Yes.
Well, they generate for us 1.5 or 3.
Either 1.5 or 3, depending. So the town has opted out, so we may get the whole 3. But
And
I just
then
looked it up.
the county gets 1 and the others go to the state.
Ithaca was talking on the radio, I think it was last Wednesday, about how much their dispensary has made them in revenue. I mean, so there's worse things, I guess.
no, they can make a lot of money.
Not that I,
The legal ones, anyway.
right, well, and that would be legal, right?
Oh,
They'd
yeah,
have
yeah.
to,
This one, I mean, they've applied for a license.
P-Mall's closed down, there's somebody else in that spot now.
I saw that. High standards.
That's the same you.
So those are the legal ones, don't pay taxes. But like this one on Front Street would be the 13%.
And as we're discussing this, we're not discussing that we don't want tax revenue. We're not discussing, we already decided that a dispensary in our municipality is permissible. We're just discussing where.
no, I was just,
Yeah, not next to a nice barber shop down there, someplace farther away. I'm just saying that's what we're discussing.
When I would say they're not, the legal ones are a much different look and feel than the illegal.
Well,
Like,
maybe.
have you seen the one on the Parkway? Like, I thought it was like a fancy store. It's a dispensary.
well, do they smoke in there? I
No.
mean,
It's like a
somebody
liquor
on
store.
Facebook was saying something about going to a place where they were smoking pot
Next
next
to the Chinese
door.
food place.
Is that where it is?
That's high
That's,
standard.
Yeah,
And then
but it's probably the potent smell of them growing it. That's
But you can't smoke in a public
They
place,
smoke
can
it
you?
in there.
But
That's
that's
high standards, they're smoking
Sure,
in
you
there.
can.
That's the illegal store.
Yeah.
The legal stores are more like a liquor store where you go in. I mean, they're very, like, I haven't been to one, but supposedly you gotta give them your driver's license check and go in, you buy it, you get out. And they're more secure than like a bank, I guess. From what I've heard. As far as,
But along those lines, they smoke everywhere. Because there's no enforcement and it's everywhere. You walk into any place and it's reeks of marijuana. It's everywhere. I know it's not supposed to be places, but
Well,
I walked in the county office building and smelled it. I mean, it's everywhere. I don't mean that they're sitting around and they're smoking it, but it's just everywhere. That's the nature right now.
I heard Snoop Dogg quit smoking, is that true? Is that a rumor?
Everywhere but at Snoop Dogg's house.
I heard that.
But anyway, it's what it is.
right,
That's the
I don't
case.
think you're gonna stop that.
no,
Probably not.
Because they sit right out front and smell it,
right,
you know,
which they can still do.
right.
Actually, they can't sit out in front of a business. Actually, you
Well,
can't
not
be
when
within
so
20
many feet of
feet,
the door.
25 feet of
But they
the
do.
front. I know they do, but it's against the law. So the whole downtown would actually be illegal to smoke in.
Yeah, because there's doors everywhere.
You're actually not supposed to smoke a cigarette. That's also illegal downtown within that number of feet of each door of each business.
And unlike popular thought, you really can't get contact high unless you're inhaling right next to somebody breathing in an enclosed place.
Oh, I wouldn't bet my
I was at
house
a
on
Pink
that.
Floyd concert once.
I was at a Bob Marley concert, Madison Square Garden, top, yeah.
I'm talking during the public comment, sorry.
So I would also, I'd like to see the parking ticket raised.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know if that's something you guys could work on.
Yes.
We're working on it already. It's absolutely doable.
Like 3 years ago or 4 years ago, I got a parking ticket in Syracuse. $50.
It's on a list for,
Working on
just
parking
haven't done it.
enforcement, maybe getting a parking enforcement officer.
I would hope so.
Yeah, because that car still sits out.
I know, and I've told them 6 times.
There was
And it's
one
gonna
behind it.
snow.
There was one behind it parked.
That one moves when it's behind you.
The one behind, yeah. And that varies depending on who
Right.
gets home last.
I come home 2:30 in the morning, around that corner.
Go slow. Mike?
Another thought with this whole parking scenario and that person that posted that yellow piece of paper that's on their car, maybe make an official one for the village, educating them on what the laws are, that people can share and put on somebody's car at 3 in the morning saying, hey, just so you know, village law says X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
And the law was in place back in the 1900s, still is in place.
Yeah.
That's why I suggested a
Or
flyer.
somebody put illegal flyers out?
We don't know if they're illegal or
No.
not.
I didn't see them.
It was informative, but.
If it said maybe ticketed and towed, the village put them out. And if it said will be ticketed and towed, I didn't.
May I say something to Mike?
Yeah.
Michael Michaels, yes. Michael Michaels. So, as just, sorry, it is what it is. It's actually illegal for a citizen to put something on a car's windshield that says, oh, you shouldn't park here or something. The police can do that if we set up something with them, but we can't just have a citizen do it. That doesn't mean somebody won't or can't do it, but it's not legal to do it.
Yeah, I mean, instead of them breaking, tickets at their last hour, maybe you just do one last lap and.
We have
throw
done
those on the
that.
windshield at 2 o'clock and.
We have done that. I've done that too.
Well, if they want it around at 1 o'clock, those same cars are gonna be there at 3, so they could have them already pre-written.
Right.
Well, maybe that's what they could do on their last.
And
lap.
maybe that's why they use yellow, because their tickets are yellow.
Oh, maybe. Maybe.
I have
So
come down
as
Front Street.
We're not gonna, I'm sorry.
I had to come down Front Street sometime in the dead of night, and there was no cars parked on either side. I thought maybe everybody left town.
Now, this is, some of our things are drastic and dramatic, and towing cars is not a touch drastic, not impossible. And if we had the money for it, I'll tell you something that would be effective for the people that are parked there. They come down at 7 in the morning to their car, and every one of them's got the wheel lock on it. If we could afford those, that'd get their attention.
So there's a video on YouTube?
Yeah.
That shows you how to get that off.
Oh, you can do it, you can get it off, but guess what? You're better off paying the fine than taking that off, because if
No,
you
it
take,
shows them putting in a deflated soccer ball and inflating it.
and when you do that, you've just added another $500 to your fine.
That's not on the books.
Huh? That's what?
That's not on the books.
We don't have the,
Rusty already.
we don't have the boot yet. When you write the boot, the removal of the boot becomes a bigger thing than the.
And most cities charge you to remove the boot
Oh, yeah.
after you paid your ticket.
Definitely.
Anyway,
Well,
Anyways.
they just have to pay the towaway expense. That
But
would
if
get
you,
them,
I think if you increase the ticket price and people had to pay,
Yeah, that would help.
say $50, they're not gonna, they'll park up, maybe they'll walk.
Right. And it really needs to be something like that, because even a parking ticket is,
It's worth the parking,
we have
the
to
legal.
legal,
Yeah.
like
It's like
hours
a
of paperwork, because you gotta do discovery and all kinds of stuff, even on a parking ticket.
I don't have the right book here. It's in the book of potential things to be done. We don't know what, we haven't gone there, but we've written down a bunch of things to do.
Yeah, it probably hasn't changed in forever.
Monday, that's part of the stuff.
Yeah.
And then enforcement would be
Yeah,
the second.
that would help.
well, if we just hired somebody part-time, you know,
Yeah, because they don't have to.
And if you got more
15
money
hours
for
a
the
week
tickets,
or
it
whatever,
should pay
go
their
around at
salary.
3 in the morning.
Anybody else?
Public comment.
One thing, can you shoot me an email with the mural guy's information? Talking to Sam about it, he's thinking about maybe having them do something in front of the diner.
Oh, okay.
Great. Can the guy do Yankees and Giants?
That's what he wants, his Yankee and Giants
Shoot,
thing
yeah.
that's up there, he wants them to do that. I said, why not put Mickey Mantle on one side and Ma on the other?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the diner has a 100th anniversary
Yep,
this
coming
coming
up.
year.
Yeah, we'll get to some.
It's, I don't know, Melissa's got something planned for the whole year.
Oh, cool.
Move to adjourn.
See you next time.
Thank you, folks.
Yeah, thanks.